speaking of Vanderpump, I always think about Scandival, right? And what
Mm-hmm.
happened with Rachel. And I'm not gonna what what they did was wrong. This is not an apology
I
for
mean,
their behaviors.
I'm like covered in
Yeah, but like
goosebumps.
when you make a stupid decision or you make a bad decision in your life, the average person gets to make that in the privacy of their life. And it's still hard. But to
Yeah.
have the entire world adding commentary on your gigantic mistake that you've made is just amplified. And I want everyone like take a minute to think of the worst thing that you've ever done or said. And imagine if the whole world saw that and then had the social media outlet to tell you how they felt about you because of
Not
that.
even before that. For me, the Sandoval now, the first one I ever watched Vanderpump was that reunion. I didn't, because all I was hearing was
Oh,
Sandoval. I'm like, who the fuck is Sandoval? What is this? And my girlfriend was saying was
well,
her in
that
New
show
York.
I heard was supposed to be
She watched
canceled,
it.
and that show got it renewed. That season
So
got it renewed.
that's how that me called it Hawaii, they called a reunion. Like watching that for me, it was it made me first of all see Raquel 1,000,000%. I didn't even need to
Mm-hmm.
see what happened, but I was like, oh hell no, because she sat on that stage and got
Took it.
abused. I mean, they just screamed. And now the things that I need to watch James Kennedy speak to anyone. I bulk up as a character. I really do because
Well, I've met him. It's not
I
a
don't.
character.
That boy has not gotten his ass kicked. I don't know how because he would not have survived in my environment. But the way that they just spoke to her and screamed at her, and she just stood there with her like fucking pageant training. Went and got her water and came and sat back down. And as someone who works with people who are traumatized, I could see it. That she was doing everything she could not to break and in so much shock that she couldn't even really shed a tear until she was able to step up that stage. Like she was prepped. And the thing was, she's been prepping pageants for her whole life. She was prepped for that setting, and I give her
Yeah.
so much credit for being able to sit there. But that was constructed by a team to have her
Yes.
experience that. What the internet does is what the internet does. But when you
It's
construct a
whoa.
setting to abuse a girl,
Yeah.
like, that was,
Who made
they
a
should have been shut.
mistake? I agree. I actually tried watching that and I thought it was so brutal. And I'm not picking teams, right? Because
Yeah, 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 of course.
but like I empathize with her and I feel I mean, just to like you said, the pageant training, I guarantee you, I just know what they told her because I've talked to
Yeah,
so many other people that have been in the same situation. And they all say the same thing. The producers tell you you just have to take it and own it because if you don't, it's only going to get worse.
yeah,
And then to hear that and then to see like the things people were saying, the way they were talking to her, it's like she's still a human. She made a mistake. And again, like if you did that in real life, I'm sure not everyone, but most people would have the internal guilt, right? And
yeah,
then to have the whole world spew on you, and then
yeah,
have your castmates and people you thought were your friends. And, I've heard her say before she thought she was in love, like
yeah.
all of that, right or wrong. Like it's horrible to put people in these constructed, as you said, abusive situations. And they did it on Love is Blind last season reunion as well. And it's just so disappointing to see
Mm,
that. It's just so
yeah.
disappointing to see that.
Yeah, Love is Blind is really interesting to me because what Netflix does really well is their PR around you guys. And I think it seems like especially with Kwame season, what was that, season 4, where there were a couple
Which
of
one?
couples, Kwame and Chelsea, what
Uh,
season to that? Where there were like
is
four
that three?
couples who lasted 3 or 4.
Because there was five, was six just happened. I can't keep them all
It just
straight anymore.
happens.
So five was not good. No couples or one couple
Oh
actually. And
yeah,
then
okay.
so it was four, right?
Okay.
Or
That particular season, you could see a shift in the PR in that everybody was doing press. That all of the social media posts by the individual characters, you could tell were curated by a consistent PR team. Like the show or the network or whatever did a really good job of like creating settings where these people could talk about their experiences in a way that was a little bit more real. And I really appreciated that for that season because one of the things that I struggle with is like there really is no PR for us. Like it's just like
I know.
you do this show and then good luck. So like I hired my own PR team. Like I have a business that I will not let fail. So I made sure that
Yeah.
anything that I needed after the fact I had, and I made sure I had the resources to do that. but not everybody is that lucky. And
Why is that with the show? That did you have to give up your, you didn't give up your social because of your
no,
business, but like, do
you can't
you,
talk about
why do they
anything.
not let you guys on your
Because
social?
okay, so the idea is this couple never last. So when like Johan and I were still together in Love in Paradise, we couldn't ever show pictures of each other while it was airing because everybody would know that we made it.
Yep.
You know, so like this, we're
So we
having this
had
big
that.
fight on the show. You guys have that, which makes sense because you're,
It's
that's the whole point of the show is do
right.
you make it or not?
But
That's
we
really
weren't
not the whole
allowed to
point of our show.
post, but we were supposed to post as if what was happening on TV was happening in real
Yeah.
time. So like and I was like not on social, but like that to me kind of makes sense. But I can also see why they wouldn't trust people because that is very hard. Again, when you're watching something on TV that is
Yeah.
not true or
Yeah.
misrepresentation, or you know the ending. You watch a movie differently if you know the ending already, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So like, I understood that. Like that part didn't really bother me. It was, I think it's after the fact. And to be honest, I personally have had a good experience and like I created a podcast. That was like really a no-no. Like there weren't really many people, characters. I don't know, are there any who are former characters who have a podcast? I don't even know because we're really not allowed.
I've not seen any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I made a podcast and it had nothing to do with the show really. It was more about my life and my work and my relationship. And I had this podcast even before I had the show and we brought it back. And I talked a lot about the show and every cast member called me like, how the fuck are you getting away with this? How are they letting you do this? We can't even go live on social media. We can't even do this. And I'm just like,
You
this is
just
the
do
work
it.
that I do.
Yeah.
I just do it. I always
Me
ask
too.
for forgiveness rather than permission, honestly, because the truth is, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of trouble with this, no one's gonna sue me. That would be a fucking PR nightmare, right?
Mm.
No one's coming for me. Because what are you going to say? I'm not allowed to speak about my situation. You're going to publicly say that? You're never going to do that. So,
Well,
yes, I may never get a chance on TV again, but like,
well, that's what I asked you before you and I decided to do this. Are you ready to sign away your reality TV career? Because
I know.
I'm a pariah.
I know. I said, what's funny because I had reached out to my talent person like in season 4, season 5, and I said, I really want to do this podcast with this guy. I'm afraid to tell you who it is because I feel like I'm going to shut it down right away. And then like, I got lost in whatever awful thing I was experiencing. But I didn't ask this time because I was like, hey, I've never, and I really don't have anything negative to say about Sharp and my experience in
Yeah,
production because if it wasn't for the production team, I would not have survived and gotten out of DR the way that I did. They took very good care of me. And so like I do,
that's good.
my experience was with my EP, with my production team. I was very lucky and I was very well taken care of. I don't know what other people's experiences are with other producers. Every show on TLC, even the 90 Day shows, they're all their own animal. It's not
Yeah.
like there's this overarching person that's like managing that there's a connection between the way that all these different shows operate. They all operate completely differently with different
Well,
budgets,
producers
different ways of
are
producing.
contractors. Yeah,
Yeah,
they might be
exactly.
on one season and not on another kind of thing.
Exactly. And there were a bunch of producers who went home who like could not work with me. Like there were 2 different times where like a producer was like, no, I'm not doing this because
Oh,
you can't get content out of me. I am the content. So like
right.
if you're trying to get something and I know that, you're never getting it because that's not
We're so similar.
genuine.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, the
I'm
amount of
not,
things I said no to was like, they
yeah,
got me one time to do a shower scene, but that was it. Other than that, I was like, thank God that didn't air. But other than
yeah,
that, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not talking about that. And a lot of times they would divide and conquer, I would say would be a way to do it, where, they would say something to me with Danielle, something to Danielle about me, most of it not true.
mhm,
But other than that, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. You're not making me look like an idiot. I'm a professional. I'm not going to
yeah.
say that. I don't want to talk about that all the time.
And then they hate us. We
Oh, yeah.
become the problem and difficult because we're making their lives hard. But you know, at the end of the day, you have to, if more of us asserted our boundaries and said, this is okay, this is not okay, then there wouldn't be the fight. But like in
Yeah.
production school, like in production training, you're trained to get content out of people. You're trained on what to say, how to manipulate, how to get people to trust you. Like that's part of the work that you do. That's part of your training. If I don't trust my producer, it's going to be a shitty experience for both of us, and the content's going to be terrible. So like one of the things that Adrian and I, like in the beginning, I was just like, listen, these are all the things that make me a person. This is all the things that I stand for. And like, I just want to make sure that what we're going to do is in alignment with those things. And she really protected me and made sure that, like, okay, for example, you didn't see the show, but there was a lot of cheating and a lot of like brothels, and like there was a situation. So when I found out about most of it, I was filming a double interview with this man. So I was like, I need a fucking STD test. Like I said to the line producer,
Totally.
I'm like, holy shit, I didn't even think about this. And they're like, okay, we're gonna take you right
Did
after
they do
filming.
it?
They did it. They didn't ask me to
Wow.
film it, and they didn't ask me what the results were. And
So did they have anything in your contract about that? Because I know ours basically says we're not responsible if you get pregnant, AIDS,
yeah,
anything.
yes, they
Okay.
definitely have all that. But that's what I appreciated was they didn't have to do that. And
Yeah.
they did it maybe because they thought I would come out and say something, but I think at that point they had known me long enough that I wouldn't. But like I think it was just like what I was experiencing was truly so traumatic, and it felt like they were really trying to like give me whatever I needed to not have a nervous breakdown.